Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome back. Today, we are going to dive deeply into Mystery School Thursdays. So, thank you so much for joining me for this week's class. My name is Marissa Indigo, and I am the founding director of Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School, which is an online mystery school to assist you for your awakening process, the deeper layers of the ascension process, and beyond. And this week, we're going to be talking about breath work and the magic, the power, the capability that we all have to completely realign ourselves with the power of breath. And it's a very simple, profound way of calming our nervous system, expanding our consciousness, reconnecting again. And I have been guided to share this information at this time to support everyone through the rigors of the awakening and the ascension, wherever you are in your process, particularly the physical ascension process, as our nervous systems are getting rattled by all of the different frequencies, everything happening right now. And this affects our emotions, our psychology, our interpersonal relationships, and of course, our own frequency of being and how well we feel about ourselves, right? Our vitality. And so, for this week's class, I'm actually going to be sharing segments from a mastery course that I have on the Mystery School, which is called the Bliss of Breath 101. And what's really cool about all of this Lightbody technology is that these are ancient tools and techniques that I like to say are from our future now, which is also part of the ancient past, which is all coming back into relevancy again. And these are all amazing mystery school traditions from the masters, the ascended masters, the different sages and rishis of the Far East, who I really feel are galactics. So we're going to be looking at the nervous system, learning about a little bit of physiology and anatomy when it comes to our respiratory system, and really interesting information like the fact that most people, until they understand breath work and prana, working with the life force or the creative life force energy of the universe, which we are made of as well, until we start exploring these kind of occult mystery school traditions or techniques, we have no idea just how even shallowly we are breathing. Most people don't know they're only breathing like 1/10 of the capacity of their actual lung capacity. And so it's just so important at this point in our sovereignty, in our empowerment, that we start to put these practices into use on a daily basis to support ourselves to feel very centered and grounded and capable in these times, to feel very anchored and rooted and stabilized ourselves, supporting our nervous systems, so then our light body can come on with even more strength and power. We have more clarity and empowerment and the ability to perceive accurately from the expanse of the now moment as well. So enjoy this class. And if you want to go deeper and do the entire class, which is over 2 hours long, there's a workbook and all kinds. It also includes a session with me to customize practice for you, for your needs right now, of what breath practices are the best for where you are at this point in time. There are details about how to register for the full class in the description box below. So in this class, we're going to cover the basics of breath, and I'm going to be sharing several breath techniques for you so that you can learn how to either expand your energy and assist yourself to wake up, or how to relax and calm your nervous system and to assist and prepare yourself to go to bed and relax, as well as some other techniques. So enjoy. It's going to be really fun. And for me, there's nothing more exciting than really starting to piece together how wondrous our bodies are and the true miracle of prana or chi or life force energy. Essentially, we're all existing in a sea of plasma, of energy all around us. And when we start to put these techniques into practice, it can really change our lives for the better. Within minutes, we can feel a shift. So these are beautiful and powerful techniques to assist us to return to center again. So thank you so much for joining me today and enjoy the class. I'll see you soon. Namaste.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome. I'm so excited for this Mastery Empowerment course here. Today we have the full moon in Virgo. So I had no idea when we scheduled this that today was going to be the full moon in Virgo. And that's really all about, combining the powers of the mind and all of our creativity and inspiration with coming into the body. So how perfect, with pranayama, with breath work, with respiration. inspiration through the breath. So I just want to start by welcoming you all. My name is Marissa Indigo, and just all of you here live with me. I'm so excited to play and explore and share this incredible information with you all, with the intent of expanding your personal journey, and also just extending that gratitude and excitement for those who will be joining us on the replay. So I want to welcome you to Pranayama, Mastering the Miraculous Power of Conscious Breath. And I have so much to share with you all. So I just want to invite us all to just close our eyes and take a deep breath together and just center and come here into this beautiful container together. And just allow ourselves to feel the magnitude and really the magic, of that truth of the power of our breath in our journey. It's very exciting to share this with you all. So welcome. Here we go. So pranayama, mastering the miraculous power of conscious breath. So my name is Marissa. I'm a yoga teacher as of like 12 years ago. I'm a clinical Ayurvedic specialist. I'm also an oracle, a lot of different random trainings that I've pieced together on my journey of awakening. And this is what I'm so excited to share with you all today. So here we go. Let's dive in. So I just wanted to review what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be covering a lot of information. And I always want to welcome you guys. That's what's so great about the replay. You have infinite access to this material after the fact. Is you're always welcome to come back and review. I put a lot of work and love into the slides because there are so many layers to each little bit that we're going to be covering today. This is a holographic topic, a very quantum topic of the breath and our multidimensionality and how they all intersect into the body as that ultimate interface. So this is what we're going to be covering today, and then we're going to jump in and actually do some breath together. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about the science of breath. We're going to be looking at energetic anatomy, brain hemisphere balance, which is so important. We're going to be learning how we're actually alternating hemispheres, which are corresponding to the nostrils we're breathing through, slowing the mind and all of our thoughts, the fluctuations of the mind through the breath. This enables us to become the neutral witness, kind of coming into that I am presence consciousness, where you can start to discern which aspects of you is that the human ego, is that maybe me in a childhood form that I have this wound, is that my angelic aspect, starting to discern from more of a we consciousness in that neutral divine state. When you have mental fluctuations, thought forms, emotions, where is that coming from, so that we can start to really clarify and purify our minds and our conscious focus and our intent. What's really cool about this information is it's going to be showing you how through the body and the sides of the body and our nostrils, how all of this ties in with the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies. And this process, if you guys are familiar with the alchemy of the Hieros Gamos or the holy union or the sacred marriage, all of these different terms in alchemy of the soul kind of work, that internal work, it's all mapped in the body. And it's just fascinating. Also, we're going to be doing some different breath works that are targeting common experiences for us. So, transcending anger and detoxing the liver at the same time. They live in the same part of the body when we're looking at Ayurveda and the connection of the organs with different frequencies of energy and emotion. So we're going to be doing some breath work. I'm going to share some things with you that are very powerful for transcending anger in the moment, which also is detoxing the liver. And we can then transcend the anger energy and bring it up into a higher space of creativity, bringing it higher up into our chakra system. We're also going to be looking at some breath work techniques to open and stimulate and strengthen the third eye. So that's really fun. We're going to do some toning with that. And lastly, just looking at how breath work in general and how we're breathing is a natural way for us to stimulate the thymus for immunity and to build white blood cells just in how we're breathing. So very powerful stuff. All right, so let's get into the art right now, the benefits of pranayama, because it's a living art. So some of the many, many benefits of becoming more conscious of our breath. This improves our physical and our mental health. This becomes a beautiful trickle-down effect of when we have a stable, steady, rhythmic, kind of slowed down breathing. it immediately impacts this whole axis here, which is extremely important for us to have a calm and stable place of being, the calm in the storm, if you will, the neutral witness and observer, really bringing us into our higher God mind consciousness by regulating the hypothalamus and pituitary and adrenal axis. Now, these organs are so important, and this whole process with the breath here is just an incredible vehicle for you to understand and understand how immensely impactful this is for your ascension journey. Because right now, the photonic, the light that's coming down, the cosmic rain that's coming down is jumpstarting our systems, and we have to create the framework at a neurological level in our nervous systems to be able to take in these higher energies and not fry out. So this is allowing for a higher light quotient in the physical body at cell level, and we'll get into how that works. Consistent practice of conscious breathing can reduce blood pressure because, as we know, the heart and the lungs are intricately connected as a system. So by calming the breath and calming the mind, we're also calming the heart, which is really, really important for our longevity and sustainability, which also increases the lifespan of the blood vessels, of course. Regular and long-term practice of pranayama can therefore prevent diseases of the nervous system, such as stroke or migraines, Parkinson's disease, other degenerative neurological disorders, because we're starting to have this systemic calm, the systemic peace at cell level. So with that, we're relaxing the nervous system to calm and open the mind. This in turn revitalizes the entire physical system and our regeneration of cells, because at a hormonal level now, our biochemistry is working for us and with us in a sustainable fashion, rather than working against us, where we're seeing more degradation of the cells with those stress hormones, which are very, they're very destructive to our process. The body is either rebuilding or kind of in a state of stagnancy. So we can choose. And thankfully, we have the breath to assist us with that. The breath can also assist us in our emotional aspects of frequency, so relieving anxiety and depression. Depending on which nostril and hemisphere and energy circuit you want to work with on any given day or time in your experience, you can either relax and get ready to quiet, go to bed, or if you're just having a lot of anxious energy, you can start to calm that, or you can get fired up and stimulated as needed. So that's what's really cool when we start to get into our energetic anatomy here. I wanted to show you guys this. This is really important. And we talk about this more in depth in the study of Ayurveda, but this is that notion of the vayus, or the sacred winds. So when we talk about prana, the life force energy, and how we're taking it in, I really wanted to give you guys a nice visual aid to show how it's circulating. So we have 5 winds, or 5 types of ways that our physical and energy bodies merge together to take in and circulate the prana, different ways that it's moving. So as you can see, the top here, we have in this kind of greenish yellow, it says prana reception. That's our ability to take the energy into the system. And then we have udana, and that is the flow of energy up. So prana is taking it in, and then it starts to go these different routes, pathways, winds, circulations, if you will, for how it is meant to be utilized. So we have this also energy moving up. And that energy moving up is kind of, corresponding to when we think of the Kundalini energy, which is rising from the base of the spine up all the way. And this is all part of the journey of consciousness. Then we have the Vyana, the wind, where the prana is circulating through the body. And that has to do more with our nervous system and how, our muscles are getting those in those receptor points from the brain, like instantly, to move and do different things. We have this kind of circulating energy here in the stomach area of Samana Vayu, and this is the digestive process, which happens not only with our food, but also information, how we're digesting the information. So we really are ingesting and digesting and metabolizing information on so many levels, through our sensory input. And the final wind is Apana, and that's that downward flow of energy. And that cycle of energy is responsible for when we're having a bowel movement, or when we're giving birth to a child, all of that kind of downward and out, exiting energy. So I just wanted to start to give you guys these great visuals so you can see how is this prana? This is such a big topic. How is it going through me? Uses and effects of different kinds of breathing. And we're going to go more in depth as we go on, but I want to give you pieces to keep building and building so we can embody this together. So, an inhalation tends to be cooling to the body, an exhalation tends to be heating. And then we have different ways of working with the breath. Retention, so that's when we're holding it after inhaling, where the lungs are full, and that will be heating to the system. Or retention after exhaling, when we're on empty, can be cooling to the system. And we'll get more into the hows. So the breath is really a bridge because the breath is subtle. Think about, the qualities of air and wind. They're light and they're mobile, they're ethereal, they cannot really be contained or seen, but we take it in and it's a subtle realm. So what I would love for you to embody more than anything in this workshop, this journey together, is the understanding of our connection to the subtle realms and how multidimensional we are in our most basic functioning, which is respiration. So I love this. If we could encapsulate the energy of this workshop just in this phrase, inspiration, well, that's literally the word for breathing in. So if we start to think about this, in the multidimensional levels, our God source self consciousness, the I am presence, inspiration is the natural effect of breathing in. So the typical pranayama practice involves different phases and patterning depending on the goal, the intention of the practice. So we're going to see some patterns here of inhalation, exhalation, timed breath holding, or which is called retention, at either the end of an inhale or an exhale. So when our breath is low, one tends to be more lethargic and dull of mind, dull in energy on all the levels, and kind of unenthused. So the practice of pranayama enables that flow of the energy of the vital life force to start to animate just so many layers of our beingness. It's also with that movement. So when we talk about, total stillness and stagnancy versus movement and flow, well, the most immediate benefit is going to be that actual movement of physical and mental toxins to be released, removed, transcended, and that will enable us to purify the toxicity from the inside out. And that's starting with, the mental levels, whether we're looping, old thoughts from the past, that kind of stuff. So this is a multidimensional experience of unity just in the breath. Every mental knot in our mind, you think about when we're stuck with something or we're frustrated with something, the body mind is a very intimately connected system for us to give us these signs, this information. So every mental knot has a corresponding physical one, and vice versa. And this is a great way to kind of navigate your experience, just by using the sensations of what's appearing in your experience. How are you feeling in the body? Is there tension? Is there tension in the mind? And one of my goals for you all with this work is to start to really see the subtle clues and details so we have much more of a connected experience. So the breath connects the body and the mind for the fully aligned divine human experience. So we breathe into our God selves, that deep silence that's behind the heart space. When we have that quiet mind, and all of a sudden the mind feels as open as and expansive as the sky. And it's the state of blankness, but it's also fullness, where there isn't a rumination, a looping of old thoughts, but the mind is open. And that's when we can really be in our highest state of receptivity for listening to divine guidance. And we find the qualities of joy, love, creativity, integration, and harmony in body mind, which is really truly a blissful experience. That is our innate natural experience. We just have to get under the layers that may be impeding that. The natural results of breath work would be clarity, steadiness, one pointed focus of the mind. And again, this is that mastery of mind chatter from scattered and maybe all over, ruminating, again, looping, and people are living rent free in your head. You're thinking about things that happened that were unpleasant, whatever it is. You start to see that we can actually quiet that down. And in that, there's a whole other level of experience. So the importance of correct breath. So this man, you'll see a lot of quotes from this man, and I think more photos as we go on. This is Sri BKS Iyengar, and he's responsible for bringing incredible yogic wisdom to the West. And he's part of the lineage that I learned from. So he's great, but he says, breath is the king of the mind. Such a beautiful quote. So the importance of correct breath for us, we're going to start to get into how a lot of us, we're not taught how to breathe in school. So we kind of maybe can go backwards in how we're breathing due to the pressures all around that we're feeling mentally, socially, everything. So the importance of correct breath. Breath is our most vital process. Our oxygenation is influencing everything, every bit of the cell's activity from creation, cellular replication, which then impacts our longevity, and also cell death. It's linked to our cognitive performance. We know this. If we get cut off, from oxygen, we can have brain damage. Respiration fuels the burning of oxygen and glucose. So this is where that brings in that samana vayu, that digestive component with the heat. So this is how we're producing energy. This is going down to our atomic nuclear potential. We need that oxygen in order to create energy. So this powers every muscle contraction, our glandular secretions, and our mental processes. So rhythmic, deep, and slow respiration creates calm and content states of mind. And the yogis will say, as we think, so shall we live. As we breathe, so shall we live. So you can start to really feel an immediate difference in if your mind is racing, and it feels like time is flying by, versus you start to slow down and it just feels like the moment is just stretched, with just so much space, a lot of calm. Irregular breathing. So this is just to show you, how important this is. And I know it's so basic and it's so overlooked in our culture. And this is my goal, is that we all bring this wisdom into our communities to start to let everyone know how important these basics truly are. They're not mundane at all. So irregular breathing disrupts the brain's optimal frequency. And this starts to lead to a breakdown. This is a more negative trickle down effect, if you will. So this leads to mental, physical, and emotional blocks, which can cause inner conflict as we feel separated from ourself, from our source, unbalanced personality or aspects, a disordered lifestyle, and could lead to dis-ease, that major imbalance. So breath and longevity. Pranayama establishes regular breathing patterns and conscious use of breath in connection to the mind. This process will enable you to have that mindfulness to break negative cycles and how they present, which of course is going to be an immediate impact of our life experience. Flexible mind, flexible body, ease of breath. They're all connected. And I'm going to show you all the bits of this. I can't wait we'll just keep going with it. So when we start to slow the mind through slowing the breath, we start to have this slow, deep life experience in unity consciousness. And this is the vast magnitude of the now moment. This is that now moment, 0 point access. This is the scalar energy, which is available to us in each moment, in each breath, if we have that inner quiet to perceive it. And this is kind of where we can start to see, wow, no wonder the machine, the matrix, has just bombarded us with distraction so that we can't perceive just this pregnant potential that is surrounding us all the time. That scalar energy, which we can create with and heal our bodies with, that prana, they're one and the same. So if we start to have that mindfulness that every inhale we take in is bringing in healing energy to all of our systems, our organs, our cells. Like, just think that mindfulness, how powerful that is for our healing. So with this slowing down of the entire system, it reverses the aging or the wear and tear. This reestablishes us and our connection to the organic rhythms of the body. And these are things like the circadian rhythms. We're really in touch with Gaia and her rhythms and those of the planets. They're all intermingling in our own energetic architecture and our physical bodies. So our mind becomes more in tune with nature and the potentials of the infinite now. And one way I like to describe this is, if you remember moments in childhood where maybe you were waiting for something that you're really looking forward to, and like 20 minutes or 2 hours just felt like days. And why? Why was that? Because when we were little, our minds didn't have as much. We weren't adulting yet. We didn't have all of the pressures that we have as grown-ups, all of the different things that we face, that we think about. All of those little thoughts are, they add up to big things, and they pull energy from us, and they clutter and overwhelm and bombard us. And then all of a sudden, time is not slowed down anymore. So the organic nature of time is an infinite slow now moment. So the best way to access that 0 point technology, which is us, and we are made for it, and vice versa, is through the breath. And this is an interesting thing to think about, is just learning from nature. Nature has the best teachings for us. So the elephants and tortoises, think about how long their lifespans are. That's because they're breathing more slowly and they have a slower heart rate. They're not, just putting so much pressure on their whole system to function. In stark contrast to dogs, rabbits, and birds who have a faster breath rate, a more shallow breath rate at that, and they only live a few years. So these are the observations that the ancients made, learning from nature to increase lifespan. So longevity through breath quality and pace. And I love this quote. The yogi's life is not measured by the number of his days, but by the number of his breaths. Therefore, he follows the proper rhythmic patterns of slow, deep breathing. These rhythmic patterns strengthen the respiratory system, soothe the nervous system, and reduce cravings. And that's from Iyengar again, a wonderful book that he has, Light on Yoga. Any of you guys want some cool stuff to read? So I wanted to review quickly here how our breath, how we're choosing to breathe, can build our immunity. So in the ebook that I made for you guys, I put the whole article in that ebook. This is an article from Forbes. And this is a man, Dr. Luis Ignaro, who's a Nobel Prize winning researcher. And he discovered how we're creating nitric oxide, which is very important for building white blood cells, with how we breathe through our nose. I mean, this is so fascinating to show you how perfectly we are designed for optimum function. It's just a matter of relearning our system and how to optimize our experience. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth produces nitric oxide. This is what builds white blood cells and works with the thymus directly to build our immunity. So the cells and the tissues in the nose specifically, not the mouth, he says, this is his research, constantly and continuously produce nitric oxide. So the physiological significance of this is that the nasally derived, breathing through the nose, nitric oxide improves oxygen delivery into the lungs by causing bronchodilation. That's where our bronchioles here, these are the little tubes that go into the lungs to expand the lungs. They are having a maximum efficiency of oxygen. So by breathing in through the nose, we draw in this gas that's produced in our nasal membranes, pulling it into our lungs where it expands airways, boosts oxygen delivery to our brains and throughout our bodies. This process also results in relaxed blood vessels and muscle tissue, both of which are experiencing tension and pressure during periods of stress. And then he says, getting more of this nitric oxide into your lungs can provide protection against viruses and bacteria. So it's just important wisdom for right now. Really connect with our breath. So on pranayama and some of its history. Now, in yoga, there's this phrase called shruti, and that means divinely revealed. Other ways of looking at this might be channeled, but usually when we think of channeling, it's coming from an external source. The rishis brought this forth from inside, from their deep meditation states. So they had a very amazing microscopic understanding of even what our cells look like, all through just meditating and going in through their third eye. And a lot of what the rishis knew thousands and thousands of years ago, which they put into yoga for us, so that we would have tools for when things got really inorganic, like what we're experiencing now in the modern age. They could see things that science is just now catching up with. So they had a very deep understanding of our bodies and how to obtain longevity and maximum health. And they were seeing the sacred geometries. I mean, it's really incredible. So the most general term or definition of the term pranayama is defined as breath control, but it's a lot more than that. But it's an intention focus on inhale, exhale, or the retention of full or empty lungs. So it's really important to tie together, not only is this extremely beneficial for our physical body, all of that, the 3D initial layer of our existence, the physical. So not only is it oxygenating the body, but it's a mindfulness practice using breathing to influence the flow of prana, or healing energies, in and out and through the body. So prana, the word prana means vital life force energy. Some other words for are chi, qigong, we think about that. Ki in Japanese, we think of Rei Ki, the divine energies. That's prana. Ayama, so when we're looking at pranayama, the word itself, the word ayama means extension, expansion, stretch, or restrain. And it's funny, when I was typing this up yesterday, I thought, how interesting. Ayama sounds like I am. I am. And I'm like, well, to me, this is the definition of the I am presence. We are in this state of extension, expansion as we evolve, in the ascension journey here, that contraction and expansion. So a little bit about prana. Prana is life force energy. It is the animating, under energetic of all of creation. So it's oxygen, but it's also plasma. And that's really important to consider, because that's where we can kind of come into that scalar 0 point energetic potential, where the energy that we are presented with, we can do whatever we want with it as long as it's highest aligned, right? As long as it's serving. So the energy of the formless realms, this is huge, because these are the realms that have been presenting now starting last year, and they'll continue to show themselves more and more to us in our journeys. The formless, and these are which precede physical manifestation. So you, as a creator being of your experience, can consciously create anything from the formless through your focus and intention. You can literally get high, get elevated by raising your frequency through increased pranic intake. And I know everyone's talking about how to raise your frequency, and there's so many ways to do it, but my goodness, breath is free, and we can do it anywhere. Pranayama uses the body's perfected architecture to enhance your holistic experience by increasing the prana that's all throughout you. This is, minutes, just minutes to experience immediate results for enlightenment, to calm anxiety, to get elevated or increase your frequency. They're all one and the same experience here. It depends on where you start from. Whatever emotional frequency you start from, it will continue to elevate you. Most powerful tool we have to clear our minds and to stop thinking, to then be able to listen, to perceive, to receive divine guidance, or perceive through the heart's intuitive omniscience. We have to quiet so we can listen. So here's another photo I wanted to put up for you guys of the energetic anatomy. Now we're familiar with the chakras a little bit. The caduceus is actually, that staff is actually the human body. It's a symbol for this whole ladder here of energetic framework. So our energy, you can see here, it starts in the root and it goes all the way up to the crown, and it's going up through the spinal column. So the spinal column is our main energetic tube, if you will, for energy. And then we have others that weave back and forth. So breath is really the key to the energy flows of the nadis, the energy systems here, the chakras. Our entire energetic framework is accessible by breath, which makes sense because breath is subtle. But I love this because this is serious, soul alchemy, ascension technology that we all have through our breath. That's why I was just so excited to share this. So the right side of the body and the right nostril, you can start to see how there's these winding snakes here. And this is the caduceus. So the spine is the staff. And then you've got the two snakes. It's the symbol in the medical field as well. So you can see how they start at the root and they keep wrapping and spiraling and meeting each other at different points, coordinate points, which are also the chakra vortices, which is really interesting. And then they meet and it kind of almost a kiss at the third eye at the top. So the right side of the body and that nostril corresponds to the left brain. So we're crisscrossed, actually. It's kind of interesting. The left brain is our linear, more analytical, the 3D, more masculine expression. Yang in the yin yang, yin yang, positive charge with electronics, and it's the electronic energy. The left side of the body, or that nostril, corresponds to the right brain. That's our spatial, intuitive. This is giving us access to, from right now, we have access to 12D. We've got to do a lot of really consistent clearing to go beyond 12D, but there are people who have been working on that. So we have access here through these higher dimensional planes, through that spatial right brain, 5 to 12D. This is the more feminine expression of intuitive energy, receptive energy. This is the yin. Sorry, I put yang there, but it's supposed to say yin. This is the negative charge when we're talking about the quantum, how the different things are spinning, and magnetic energy. So all of creation, if we think of the yin yang, it is electromagnetic energy. It's either pulling or repulsing energies. So masculine is electric and feminine is magnetic, which is interesting because the masculine side is the thinking analytical side. So just to show you the difference in the frequencies, our thoughts are electronic, our emotions, and the more receptive, are magnetic. So showing you how what we are working with internally translates into the quantum soup that we're working with all around us when we're creating our life experience. So the spine is the central channel called the Shushumna. That's the holy staff of the Caduceus. The left channel is called the Ida, and the right channel is the Pingala. So both channels root in the coccyx bone, the tailbone, and they weave up. And so many pop culture references throughout time, and different alchemical texts, or esoteric texts, all of that fun stuff. They call the ladder of lights, the stairway to heaven, the rainbow bridge. This is it. It's the chakra system as we transcend, our lower. And I don't like to say higher or lower because that sounds hierarchical, and it's not about that. It's about frequencies of beingness, of consciousness, right? But it's transcendent consciousness as we continue to bloom upwards, bonding with the divine. So quality of the mind. The best way to work with what I've provided for you all with the pranayama is using your mind or breath. Just see what works for you in the moment to check in. You might notice, oh my gosh, I'm retaining my breath. I'm holding my breath. Maybe you have an intense phone call with somebody and you're realizing, oh my goodness, I'm holding my breath because it's a trauma response. It's totally normal. So it might be where the mind is, or just realizing that you're holding your breath. That will help us in the moment determine, what do I need right now? So where is my mind? Do you need to relax and calm down? Did you have something intense? Maybe you need some self-soothing. Or do you need to activate and energize? Are you holding your breath, breathing shallowly? And we can see this in the mind as well. We can see this when we're overthinking or critical or anxious. So this maybe we could use some brain balancing. It sounds like maybe we're too much in the left hemisphere. We're over analyzing, and then we're kind of spinning our wheels in that energy. We're not able to receive insight to go forward with. We're just kind of, looping. So in that, you can use the alternate nostril breathing to bring both hemispheres into a harmony. And then we're using that, talk about divine mind, when we're using both hemispheres at the same time. And that's one of the breaths we're going to do today. So the right nostril, again, I want to keep reviewing this to help you embody it. The right nostril activates the mind, fire, the action abilities. Think of it more like, you need an espresso, then you want to go with the right nostril. Critical thinking, that kind of stuff. The left nostril breathing is going to activate our emotions. It's the water element, intuitive nature, creative abilities. So maybe you're having a block and you need to slow down and have some inspiration. You could do the alternate nostril breathing, which we'll do, and then you could do one of the third eye breaths. So you've calmed down and brought yourself into a state of balanced stasis. And then you open, and you charge and open the third eye. And then all of a sudden you've got some creative insight. So you'll notice too much of either side will bring on intensity. So watch the qualities of your thoughts and your emotions to gauge what you need. And always make sure that you're honoring yourself, like you're not pushing. A lot of us are, we're motivated, we're excited. But if the body isn't wanting to produce, let's say, you're tired, go with that, because that's probably some light body activating that's going on. It's some cellular upgrading that's going on. So you got to use your discernment and your compassion for yourself, where you don't want to push yourself and burn out. And I'll share a personal experience when I was playing around with these. I was doing a lot of the left nostril breathing, and it made me super emotional. Really weepy, and that's usually not my character. So it's very powerful to experiment with these. So just go gently. This is one of the best pictures I could find of the axiotonal lines here, which I wanted to give you guys just another activational, photo to kind of start to see how this applies to your own grid architecture of your energy bodies, because we've got layers upon layers, and we've got like 12 energy bodies, and then the physical, so the energy bodies keep going out and out. So the nostrils have significance to our states of mind and our qualities of available energy. And most of us, this is how we are designed. Normally, our breath will actually shift about every 2.5 hours. It's going to shift which nostril is your dominant in your breathing. So the body is naturally doing that to try to create a harmony between both hemispheres. So some things can definitely impact this. If we've had to have surgery, some people that have a deviated septum or maybe have had rhinoplasty, that may, impede this normally natural thing that's happening completely, just, completely unconsciously. But that's okay, because the whole point of understanding these different breath exercises is that you can create that for yourself. So it's like being, an alchemist with an amazing herbal cupboard, except you're choosing a breath exercise instead of a tincture or a tonic. That could be your tonic. Breathing through each nostril has a different effect on the body, mind, and science is catching up to this, which is really exciting. But just to know that the body is organically set up for unity consciousness between our divine feminine and our divine masculine energy. Like, just to know that, and just, let's just breathe that in together and just, oh my gosh, like, here's another layer of miracle of me, of how my body was made, in divine perfection to do this journey. So a lot of times it's just the mind that's in the way. And that's why I like breath work, because it's a very powerful ally to help the mind become a co-pilot with us, instead of looping things. So the breath itself is meant to take us on a deeper journey of self-knowing, of self-witnessing with divine neutrality in our mind and our hearts. And you'll notice, wherever you start, that, like I said before, the experience of working with the breath will continue to take you into higher frequency bands of consciousness, as you witness and dissolve old things and really simplify in your mind and in your heart. You start to access, and first it comes in little bits. You're like, God, that felt amazing. That's what unity consciousness feels like. That's the bliss of oneness. That's what it feels like, and where I need to feel to get into that unified field. So it comes in little pieces, and then with consistency, that's your state of being the majority of the time, because you work for it. It's really wonderful. There's no end to how high you can go with it. So I want to talk a little bit about the nostrils again, because this is just so vast. So we're going to go into, again, breathing on the right. That's the Pingala Nadi, warming, energizing masculine energies, and some of the effects of breathing through the right. So it can stimulate the fight or flight of the sympathetic nervous system. So when I say you want to stimulate yourself, like a cup of coffee, cup of tea, you see how it's connected to the left brain through the right nostril. Sometimes our sympathetic nervous system, you do want to kick it on, but I would say that would be rare, probably rare, because most of us live in that with everything we're dealing with. There's kind of, it's almost on purpose that we're breathing shallowly and we're in this constant state of fight or flight, kind of a reactive state. So the breath work will help us come back to neutral. So this is the left brain. It will increase verbal performance. That's a left brain activity. It can increase blood sugar levels. Also your blinking rate, because your mind is fired up, your data processor is blinking and taking it all in. Decreases eye pressure, increases heart rate. That's that stimulation again. And it inflates the right lung. So again, just those qualities, just to help you. I like to put things in different words, to help us absorb it, because our brains hear differently and process and digest information differently. So again, the right side is heating, stimulating, increases flow through the channels, nerves, organs on the right side. And it promotes thermogenic processes like digestion. And then here I just listed, just some kind of general aspects of the divine or the shadow masculine, so we can kind of see where we are in the moment, depending on what we're dealing with, and help us navigate from there, because it's all about balancing. So the first piece in our navigation is find out where you are. Don't judge where you are. It's all good. It's perfect. You just need to see where you are. And then from there, you bring in the opposite quality to find that balance. So it's always about, balancing the qualities of being. If we're too hot, maybe we need to cool down a little, and vice versa. So here we have the left side, with the feminine, the Ida Nadi, which is cooling and restorative. So this in contrast is going to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, or the relaxation response. And Dr. Herbert Benson has a wonderful book. It's a good little, it's a short little book, but really great if you're interested in kind of the science and the medical research behind the relaxation response. It is called that. It's called The Relaxation Response by Dr. Herbert Benson. So it's the right brain, and this is increasing our spatial performance, And that's where the creativity comes in. Let me see. I don't know if someone had a note or something. Or maybe there's a chat. Let's see. Someone trying to get in. Okay, sorry. There's just a chat. I'll totally get into the chat later. Please feel free to put your questions in, and we'll get to that because questions are great. Okay, sorry about that. So it increases our spatial performance, which is our creativity, lowers blood sugar levels, reduces the rate of blinking because there's less firing going on, less need to blink, increases eye pressure, decreases heart rate, inflates the left lung. And the qualities here with the left are cooling and sedating, increases flow through the channels, nerves, organs on the left side. It also increases cold in the body and promotes consolidating processes like this is all the kind of the builder stuff. So tissue formation, stabilization, cellular regeneration, all of these things happen when we're in a resting state. And this I just wanted to show, this is really important, nose versus mouth breathing. This, like what I wrote here is it with the pranayama world, the yoga world, the different qualities of these. And then I want to show you this image. So I'll go through the qualities first. So in through the nose is heating. And if you could try like, you notice like, when you inhale forcefully in there, you can feel it is a little warm in the nostrils, but that's the point because in cold weather, our noses are supposed to be warming the air, for the body. If we're breathing cold air through our mouth, it's very damaging to our lungs and our immunity. So in through the mouth is cooling, and we're going to do a breath exercise with this, but just try, just breathing over your mouth when it's open. That dried out my mouth. But when you suck air in through the mouth over the tongue, it's very cooling. And this is something that you can do to release heat, whether it's physical heat, mental or emotional, like you're frustrated during warm weather, that kind of thing. A fast breath is heating, and a slow breath is cooling. And I just wanted to show this image here just for the sake of sharing with our family and friends, our children, our community, how important it is that we are naturally breathing through our nose. And of course, there could be reasons for why people are breathing through their mouths, but it's actually extremely devastating to breathe through the mouth most of the time. It messes up all of our vertebrae, our cervical vertebrae, and actually can deform the face. I mean, there's incredible pictures you can see. There's a lot of medical research on how much your body is dependent on the type of breathing that you're doing, how much that impacts. Okay, so let's go to the next. So this I wanted to share. This is really important. Another element we could add, if you guys like, to the breath work is mudra. And mudra is an energetic or electrical yogic seal that we use with the fingers. You notice all the statues, even the statues of Yeshua, they're always doing something like really interesting with their fingers. They're always doing mudra, and mudra is very, very powerful. It's a yoga of the hands. So in addition to looking at our whole energy structure of the energy bodies and all of that, I love to share this incredible information that our feet, the soles of the feet, palms of the hands, the ears, the eyes with iridology, and the tongue, they're all star maps. They're all star maps. So, a way that I think of that is, reflexology. We know that the entire body, is on the ear, or different parts of us. It's amazing. So in the yogic system, each finger is a different element and a different planet. So you see how everything that we are is a total holographic unity. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And this is the esoteric information that they discovered. So I'm sorry that these images, they're not as great as I would like, but this is the stuff that's hard to find, because this is the more occult information on the body parts and the symbolism and how we can actually start to work with the elements of creation, literally by which fingers we're pushing together. It's really incredible. So just to share some of this, in meditation, with breath work and the mudra, it's a very powerful practice because, boy, you're utilizing the breath, you're focusing the mind, and then you're using these energy seals of combining different aspects of your body with the cosmos and the elements of all of creation. I mean, it doesn't get much more, demigod than that in the moment. Very powerful practice. Yeah, so the middle finger is, or I'll use this little drawing. It's a little bit easier. So the thumb is fire, the pointer finger is air, the middle finger ether or the Akash, the ring finger is earth, and the pinky is water. So depending on what mudras you're using, you're actually invoking different energetic archetypal forces to work through you. So this can be paired in time. This is going deeper, so a bit more advanced, but I always like to share at least an intro to every aspect of this because it's really fun. Give you guys something fun to look into more deeply. You know, I'll do more workshops on this as we go, but you can see how in depth your process can be, and it is really fun. And that's where we can all become, you know, our own wizard. Super fun. So here's some great pictures of the mudras here. So the Gyan mudra, that's the one we see the most commonly to reduce stress. So that's the thumb and kind of the side of that pointer finger. So this one's really great for concentration. The second one, Bhairava mudra, is good for unifying both hemispheres of the brain. Because again, we're taking right and left and we're putting them together. And which hand you put on the bottom will also shift your experience. So if you wanted to feel more divinely supported with your feminine, with Divine Mother, you could use the left hand under the bottom. If you wanted to feel the opposite, more rooted, connecting with your divine masculine, you could put the right on the bottom. And what I like to do is actually put the thumbs together. So I'll make sure you guys can see that because I had to. Okay, yeah, I had to hide my camera so I could look at the thing. So you have your hands like this, and then your thumbs are together like this. So that's really powerful too, because then you're unifying again. Mm-hmm. And then another beautiful one is Lotus Mudra. This is beautiful for purification, for heart opening. Oh my gosh, it is, just looking at it is very moving for me. And you can, so you put the base of your wrists together and your hands and your thumbs and your pinkies, and you make a lotus flower like this. And if this is a really powerful one to do at the heart space and just sit and have it at the heart space, because it's like making a bowl or a basket to just invite cosmic love just down. I mean, it's really, really beautiful. So just to share some of those, if you want to do any of those when we do the breath. Okay, so now we're going to start to get ready for our practice. So the first thing, you know, when we're new to this, when we're new to yoga and breath work or doing it more consistently, is we need to open ourselves to prepare for more expansion. So we got to do some stretching. We got to do some movement. So, you know, our bodies can be tight and thus our breath can be restricted if we're not stretching every day. And this is a new thing. So it's really best to initiate each practice with some easy stretching. So we'll do a little bit of stretching. So I want to invite you guys, take your left arm and cross over the body, and then take your right forearm and hug it in, and make sure it's right above the elbow. So you're not putting pressure on the elbow, and just really extend the straight arm and just hug your arm in, and you feel opening in the shoulder. And if you want, you can look over that shoulder too that you're stretching. And, you know, if you want, breathe and just breathe in, see how the neck feels. It might help open the neck a little. We just want to open the shoulders, and then we'll switch sides. You can turn your head again. Just hugging it in, trying to open those shoulders. And then another thing you can do is you can put your hands kind of at your shoulders like little wings and just do some shoulder rolls. And if that's too hard to bring your hands up to your shoulders like that, you can just do this. And we can do these just sitting at the computer, just, you know, opening. And then we can go the other way, circling forward and crossing. And this also starts to just bring our conscious focus into the rib cage, you know, because we're going to be working with that. So heart opening poses, we want to think about the rib cage here. The rib cage is housing the lungs. So we want to be able to open as much as we can and take advantage of the breath. And we're going to be learning about how there are actually 3 parts of the lungs that we're not usually working with until we know that how to work with them. So we want to enable deeper breathing into all 3 levels of the lungs. And you can even, I want to show you guys, I have my chair here. So you can even just sit up against your chair and lean back a little bit And just lean back. Put your hands on your lap, on your knees, like palms facing down, and just leaning back and just starting to feel expansion here in the collarbones. We want to try to open it up a little bit, because then you're going to be able to really take advantage, really get more air, so that you can do yoga in your chair. It's really cool. If you want to go deeper, yoga bolsters and straps are also really great. Qigong is also really wonderful. And I wanted to just show you, so just looking at the alignment. So we have platforms. It's like the Vitruvian man, Leonardo da Vinci's man, that perfect anatomical man. So the yogis had a way of teaching us how to align our entire body so that we're optimized to really process and make the most of these energies, because we've got energy coming in through Gaia, through our feet, and then we've got energy from the cosmos coming in through the crown, and all this stuff's going on. So it's really important that we have alignment in what in yoga teacher training they call the platforms. So we notice this lady, she's got her feet here and her knees and her hips, they're all stacked on top. And then her shoulders are on top of her hips too. So it's almost like if you imagine that you're backed up against a wall and you're leaning against a wall, just making sure that the spine is going up and reaching up, and doing your best to make sure that everything is aligned on top of itself. So we're not leaning forward, or, sometimes we're crouching with our chest, and all of that is causing a constriction. It's harder to breathe that way. It's harder to receive the prana that way. So I just wanted to kind of show this, bringing the belly in, like just kind of being cognizant of that. So if your core is engaged a little, it helps you to sit up more straight. All of these things start to matter with time when we're starting to work with prana, because it'll allow us to bring in more. All right. And then here, this is just another visual aid to show you what we're trying to do in the chest with different ways. And my favorite it's the second one, the second row, that first one. The woman has her hands clasped and she's just leaning backwards. And you can do this in your chair. Some of these are very advanced, and it's hard to find more simple for us, just because I like just the simple stuff. Just open the body. It doesn't need to be, anything too crazy. But that's the action we want, is just expansion in the chest here and in that rib cage, just rolling it open. So you want to take the shoulders back and down, and make sure you're pulling your chin back too, so that your head is in alignment. Another thing I wanted to share, just for you guys, for the sake of when you're trying to sleep or wake up, whatever you're working on with your own self, showing how the postures of our body impacts our nervous system. So anything that is forward and down is going to help us relax. That's going to actually bring in the relaxation response in our neurochemistry. So let's say maybe your mind is racing. You could do a downward kind of position, like the child's pose, to start to calm down before your breath work. So child's pose or forward, anything bringing forward and down starts to quiet. And then conversely, if you wanted to stimulate and awaken more, that's why in yoga you notice in a yoga sequence, we have this alternating forward and down and up and back, because they're balancing the hemispheres of the brain with going forward and opening up and back. So with the breath work that we're going to do today, we are going to be doing a little bit of, focusing on the chest being open so that you can get more breath in there. But just know that anything going back and arching back, it's like you're drinking in prana, from source, from the cosmos. Okay, so now the fun part, we get to stop talking about it and we get to do it. So I just want to invite you guys, we're going to get into it. If anyone has to use the restroom, or if you need water or tea, anything like that, or if you have a stuffy nose, maybe get some tissue to blow your nose, because some of the stuff we're going to do, like with the alternate nostril, we're going to be, pushing on our nostrils and switching them around. And sometimes that brings the gunk up. So even if you just want to get a tissue just to be ready, I'm going to go get some tissue myself. So we will just take let's say 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into the actual experiment of ourselves. Okay. I'll be right back. Just wait for everyone to come back, and just let me know when you guys are ready to rock and roll. Hi, Linda. It's Great to see you all. Happy full moon, everyone. What a special time to do this together. This is great. Does anyone have any questions just while we're waiting for everyone to come back together? I see some chat stuff, but you're welcome to unmute or.
Great class so far. I'm really liking it. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I noticed that when we did the hug, the arm hug, that your hands were clenched. Can you talk a little bit about clenching and open? Because I noticed on one of the other things that you showed, her fingers were like this. So.
Yeah, I think that's probably me being nervous and being on camera, to be honest, and like just clenching my hands with nervousness. So, but it depends on, you could also like, there's a mudra where you put your thumbs in the fist, and that's a very earthy grounding kind of like if you need some stability and just to feel. So for me, there's a lot of ether with being online, so I probably just unconsciously did that. But if you want to, like, let's say you've got a lot of extra energy and you just want to shoot it off. Like, let's say you've got all this tension in here. So we're going to open this and the hand is open here. Sorry, make sure you can see that, because of what I'm visualizing is that I'm just pulling that tension out energetically in my breathing and then shooting it out through the hands. So there's, you could just play. Yeah, that's just me playing around. Thank you for asking that.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, well, are you ready to continue? If you want to give me a thumbs up. I see about half of us, and then half of us don't have video on. So I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anyone. If you guys are ready to go. Hi, Sue. Yay. Okay, great.
I'm sorry I was late. I thought it started at 1.
That's okay.
So,
yeah.
But I got here right on time, I think.
Yes, we're right for the fun stuff, the juicy stuff. So welcome. Thank you, Noreen. Okay, Carolyn, I hope you're ready to rock and roll. And whoever is 412, let's go. All right. So let's do some breath anatomy. Okay, so we have 3 layers of the lungs. And this is like in the promo where I say, oh my gosh, do you know most people, they're doing this shallow chest breathing. And that's a learned response. That's a trauma response, actually. A lot of us unconsciously are at, even just the minute base level of trauma response with this shallow breathing right in the top. And that is the tippy top of the lungs. That's just the tiniest little bit. So I want to encourage and expand your lungs with your insight here for full oxygenation for your cells and just to have this calm, open presence, which is naturally who you are. So as babies, most of us, depending on our journey, most of us though, as babies, at least we breathed into the belly. You notice babies full belly breathing, expanded belly. Think about the Buddhas and all of the different rishis and the different sages that we see, the teachers, they have a kind of a Buddha belly. Even Buddha himself had a Buddha belly, a big belly, because he's belly breathing. It's expanding those muscles. So most of us breathe initially that way, organic Buddha belly breathing. But then, we come into this plane, there's a lot going on here, right? So the soul is this ethereal soul, subtle realm with everything being very loud and, a lot and everything our soul signed up for. So with that, we start to unconsciously, we're shutting down. We're kind of starting to contract our light to survive, right? But in doing so, we're also doing that with our life force, with our lungs. So then that's making us only breathe shallowly in here into the upper layers of the chest. And this is what's stimulating this kind of a baseline underneath the layers of our experience, a constant fight or flight. And then no wonder so many of us have adrenal fatigue, right? Epstein-Barr, what's the other one? Chronic fatigue, right? Because we're not getting the full effects of what we could access. So I would just invite us together here. We're going to celebrate the breath of life. So I want you guys, if you want to close your eyes, sometimes for me, the eyes open is distracting because we take in so much intel through our eyes. So if you want to close your eyes and take your hands, and put them, if you need to sit on the edge of your seat, if that helps you to sit up more straight with your spine, and take your hands and put them right where the kind of your ribs, the bottom of the rib cage at your sides. So you can kind of feel that little like butterfly wingtip of your rib cage, but you're feeling your sides. And just start to feel. I want to connect you in the mind, body, spirit connection with the muscles, with the act of respiration that's happening in the physical vehicle here. So just keeping your hands on your sides under the rib cage. And just, I want you to start to bring your attention into your belly and start to breathe into the belly. And we'll take a few breaths here. Just feel your hands on your sides and breathe into the belly and feel the expansion. And also the contraction as the breath leaves. So breathe into the belly and feel it expanding like a balloon with air. This is just starting to connect you with this process, this beautiful organic process. So just keep breathing there and just connecting. And this is the diaphragm here. This is the lowest, deepest part of your breath. This is where the breath is supposed to start. In the belly, as the belly contracts and expands with air, the diaphragm is pulled down. And if we have tension in the solar plexus area, it's going to make it harder to breathe deep, which is fine. It's just bringing body awareness to different responses that we hold, patterning. It's okay. It's just want you to have awareness of it so we can stretch it out. So breathe again in the belly, feeling it expand. And then bring your hands up a little bit more now. Maybe like for women, like almost under the breast line. For men, it's like it's mid, kind of not quite armpit, about midway. And just once you have your hands there, now we're really feeling the ribs and just breathing in there. Now this is the mid chest area. So now you're feeling how when you breathe into the belly and keep breathing in, and we may be tight, it's okay. This is the awareness again. There's no judgment with how much air we can get today. This is the start. But just, I want you to just observe how, you breathe into the belly and it starts to rise up. So we breathe into the belly as the balloon first. And as we continue to inhale, it expands the chest, the rib cage starts to expand sideways, wider. And there's not a ton of movement with the rib cage, but you can sense it. Those intercostal muscles there, it's the muscles that are around the ribs. And just keep breathing into the belly and feeling it come up a little bit into the mid lungs as you keep breathing in and expand the sides. So we really want to start to get acquainted with that sensation of feeling the breath rise from the lower belly kind of into the mid belly and how that expands the chest. And then the third piece is let's take our hands and just kind of put them on the breastbone, kind of the collarbone area here. And we're going to connect with the very tippy top of the lungs. So I'll demonstrate with my hands what's going on. So as we're inhaling into the belly, we feel that start to expand out. And then the breath continues to rise up into the chest. And then as we come to the very tippy top, there's this beautiful splaying open, a very subtle action of energy of the collarbones, as this is the very last bit. So what I want to describe to you now is, having your hands where they are on that chest, on the thymus area. This is a great place, this is the higher heart too. A great place to put our hands and our attention. But now I want to walk you through just kind of narrating the whole experience. So just inhaling in through the belly and letting that fill. Feeling that as you continue to inhale, coming into the chest. And then we're going to sip. So right when you think you can't fit any more airs, until you really can't fit anything else in there. And that's going to start to get us acquainted like a straw until there's no more room. And that's going to get us acquainted with the very tippy top lungs here and starting to acclimate them to receiving. Because the potential is it's like 7. I can't find the note I had on how we measure in gas with volume. So I apologize. I can't remember the metrics, but it's like we're taking in like 700, whatever the metric is of this. And it's the potential is like 7,000, of these gas units. So we have a huge potential here to bring in. So just really thinking about that and feeling into that. And then does anyone have any questions with this before we go on? Because this, I want you to have that acquaintance with the body. So before we go into other stuff, if anyone has any questions about this, let's go there. Or we can carry on if you're good, but I just want to make sure. Okay, all right, we will continue. Okay, so the first one I want to start with, and this is also the first one I put in the PDF for you guys, is the full yogic breath. So with this, I want to say welcome home, because it's a welcome home to a sense of satisfaction and fullness and just beautiful, subtle, just lovely peace. So the full yogic breath is deeply balancing. And it actually balances all energetic types. That's the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. That brings in a little bit of the Ayurveda there. I just left it in there. But this is nice to know that the full yogic breath, regardless of your emotional state, psychological state, whatever you're dealing with, know that this won't exacerbate anything. It balances everything, because that's something to take into consideration. If we're feeling like I need some stability and there's a lot going on, you don't have to worry about, engaging in too much fire by accident or too much water, so this will always balance you. So this is bringing in what we were doing. So now we're going to tie in what we did before on the last slide with this breath. So this is a 3-part breath. So I'm going to just guide you into this. So we're going to be inhaling through the nose. I'm going to read about it first, and then we're going to do it, because while we're doing it, I want you to think about, wow, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm bringing in. This is what I'm inviting into my experience. This is my experience. So full yogic breath revitalizes the entire body with prana, or essential life force. In particular, it benefits the vital organs, which can easily become stagnant, constricted, or fraught with emotional and physical tension when we experience stress. It can relieve stress, refresh the mind, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and encourage a calmer and more balanced state of being. It can also help to correct unhealthy breathing patterns. So just know that as you're endeavoring on this, it's going to help to balance things out. And then you're going to start noticing, like, oh my gosh, I'm unconsciously now. I don't even have to try to do it or try to remember anymore. I am doing the full yogic breath most of the time. And then you notice when you're not doing it is usually maybe where there's some stress or some intensity. That's okay. Just bring yourself back to the breath. It's always waiting for you. So we'll do a few minutes of this. I want to invite you guys now to just close your eyes, and I'll guide you through it. So we could take a deep breath in and then just exhale out. I like to make noise. I find it very relieving. So just, okay, we're going to get out of our heads now. And the fun part, the experiment into the body, experiential. So go ahead and start to draw breath deep into the belly, feeling it expand out. Keep inhaling and feel it rising up into the ribs and the lower chest. And keep going. Imagine sipping to fill the top lungs. Make sure that your shoulders are back, make sure that your neck is in alignment. Pull your chin back a little and feel the spread in the top of the chest, in the collarbones. So we'll get used to this. So we'll do it again. So we're going to inhale into the belly and feeling it expand, and notice how as we continue to inhale, gradually it's rising up. And then it's rising up at the very tippy top, and make sure again that your shoulders are opening, spreading out. And then just exhale. Take your time. And we'll do another one. So inhale into the belly, really feeling the belly. Watching it travel, float up as we keep inhaling. And then inhale as much as you think you possibly can, just sipping the air to really fill, and just feel the breath expanding the collarbones for a second before you exhale out. And just exhale gentle. And just watch where you feel like maybe you're forcing, or maybe a muscle is tight and it's hard to breathe into that place. No worries. It all gets easier. This is just getting you acquainted with your full capacity of oxygen, which is vast, and no one tells us these things. So I'm just grateful we know now. Before we go on, does anyone have any questions? Any questions, observations, anything? So I want to make sure that you feel rooted in this.
Just feeling how, Risha here, just feeling how, wow, I lean forward so much.
Yeah.
When I get aligned, it's like I'm going backwards,
Okay. Yes, yes, that's right. It does feel that way at first. You reminded me. I remember that. I remember because I've had the forward head posture. I had all these bone spurs growing on my cervical spine because I was always, always in the future, So this is just showing us how our body, watch where the mind will direct the body. And we want to, it's this beautiful awareness. So thank you.
Cool, really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's actually a really good thing to review. So I'm going to try to sit sideways and just show you guys. Hopefully you can see me. Is that we really do want to make sure. Can't really see enough of me. Hold on, let me try. Okay. A lot of times we are like this. And see how my shoulders are round? Oh my gosh. So imagine what that's doing to my lung capacity, right? And then this is really pulling on all this. We have all the tension in here, right? So it's just really a matter of imagine that you're leaning up against a wall and you want to bring the chin back. So they say tuck your chin is an easy way to ensure, that your head is in alignment with your neck and your shoulders. Now I could have my neck better, but I could still be doing this. So it's just a matter of you want to roll the arm open like that, palm up, and you notice, oh, it opened my shoulder up and out this way. So just experimenting with that. And this will give you that ideal alignment for everything, but also for your breath work. Okay, we kind of did this. But I always want to, this way you've got more notes here. And part of this, so much comes up with every little thing we do, I swear. I mean, we judge or see something and we're dissatisfied or we're like, why am I not having that? Like, so just when you're starting to do the breath, feel it in you, feel it surfing and moving in you, and just feel where, oh, wow, yeah, that, my solar plexus is tense, for instance. It's hard to breathe into the belly. Okay, great. We'll do some stretches for that. If you can just, this is an invitation to be in the non-judgment mind of, oh, my body is showing me this, and I can therefore bring this to it, to make the breath more delicious. Because sometimes, like for me, I know my capacity, but let's say, if I've been inconsistent in my yoga practice and I'm more tight, it's like, oh, damn, I can't get in there as much as I usually can. So we're always comparing. We're all, so just watch that. The mind is really good at that because that's all distraction. That's all nonsense. It's just don't worry about it. Just keep going. Okay, so we're going to take what we just did, the full yogic breath, and this is essentially almost the exact same thing, except that when we are exhaling, we're actually going to contract. We're going to pull the belly button towards the spine. So we're going to engage the core a little bit on that exhale to fully push the air out. And that's really great because even that slight motion of engaging the core actually tones the organs. It's really cool. So it's doing a little bit of squishing of the intestines and the stomach and pancreas and everything else in there, and massaging it very gently. And that's great because that's also just that gentle internal massage just through our breath will help to, move stagnant energy. So this is a great one because it relaxes and energizes. And so what we could practice with before we do it is the noise. So they call it the victorious or the warrior breath, or also the oceanic or the ocean breath. And this is one that you can start to entrain yourself with that sound. When you start to do just a few breaths with this sound, your body has been trained to, oh yeah, we're in the yoga zone now. Yeah, and it's so cool just because you're making this sound. So what you're doing is you're actually contracting the glottis which is this in the throat here, in the back of the throat. And when you're breathing, it's making an ocean sound. So I'm going to come close to the camera and inhale and have you hear it. And then I'll show you how we can practice making that sound in other ways. So it sounds like this. So we're like really letting the air hit the back of the throat here. And so what they like us to do is inhale through the nose, and to practice, you can exhale through the mouth, and you can exhale on your palm like you're trying to fog up a mirror, like to clean the mirror. So you can just inhale, just, but the way that feels, so just try it. Because that noise, that's your glottis. You're using that glottis in there. So that's what you're doing with your mouth closed, that kind of action, if that makes sense. So this is a really powerful one that with time you can start using this breathing, with your yoga practice, like when we're doing, or Tai Chi, when you're really doing that, and you can get very warm with it. Like I'm all of a sudden very warm just from doing those, making those noises. But you can start to, merge your movement with the breath, and having an audible breath like that is a great way to connect the two, because it's subtle, So I'll just go through what this does, because we can breathe these in when we do this together. So relaxes and energizes at the same time. This increases oxygen in the blood. It builds internal body heat. So see if you feel that. It can relieve tension. It encourages the free flow of prana, regulates blood pressure. It can help us maintain a rhythm while we're doing something. While we're doing a yoga practice. It's also great if you like to power walk, or let's say you're going uphill and it's strenuous and you're really breathing. It's really great to just a deep inhale, deep exhale, and it keeps the heart from, so then it's, let's say you're doing something challenging, cardio kind of stuff. It really helps you to keep your breath balanced. Builds energy, detoxifies the body and the mind. It's great when you're nervous also. And just in general, I feel like having that sound, it's almost like, wow, could that maybe be another sound of my I am presence, when my I am presence is breathing with me? And all of a sudden you have this feeling of presence and self-awareness, and this kind of expanded qualities of yourself with all your selves, all your aspects of self. And it's just really nice. So I want to show you, if you can see the picture really quickly before we close our eyes and do it. So the inhale here, we're inhaling into the lungs, down into the belly, and then filling the belly. So it's like an opposite. So we're breathing into the belly, full. Then we're going to start to pull the belly in as we exhale. And now it's like releasing the air from the balloon. So you'll notice it's going to kind of drain out from the lungs at the top, then the mid, as we continue to pull the belly button into the spine, and then completely empty. And then when we're empty, then we'll inhale again. Does anyone have any questions about this before we proceed? Just to make sure you feel comfortable with it.
Are we breathing in and out through our mouth?
You're going to inhale through your nose, and we're going to exhale through the mouth. And that will make it easier to practice with the sound too, Okay, so if you want, we can close our eyes and just, think about your posture again. Just making sure you can roll your shoulders a little if you feel like they're a little tight, And it's nice to put your hands just palms down on your knees and sit on the edge of your seat if you like. It encourages the spine to be straight more easily without as much effort. And let's start to inhale through the nose into the belly. And then exhaling, and start to contract the belly a little bit, and just observing how it's compressing and how the air is leaving as you exhale out through your mouth. And when you're ready, we'll do it again. So we're going to inhale through the nose and into the belly, and try to do the audible if you can. Try to. And then start to exhale, compress. You can put your hand on your belly if you want while it compresses, so you can feel, yes, the belly button is moving. I am doing a little core work. I am moving the belly button towards the spine. And then notice, okay, I'm almost emptied out. And then inhale again. Contracting the belly. And inhale again into the belly. Let's start to contract. And you're feeling all these things happening as you're emptying out. And you keep going. Inhale, fill the belly. And start to contract and release. it's fun if you kind of purse your lips and exhale through your lips. That way you can feel like, oh, it almost feels and sounds like the balloon losing air. So it's fun to just experiment with that. But what's interesting with this whole process is you start to observe how your mental state is shifted. Like, I feel a lot less cerebral now, just doing it a little bit. So it's really interesting to see the connection between, oh, I'm filling and I'm emptying. And then what does that do to the mind? It's like, wow, it just shows you how connected they are. So the defining features of the Ujjayi, or the warrior breath, is that ocean sound and that contraction on the exhale. And again, that's really great because it's a very subtle way to massage your organs. I mean, how nice. So you gotta love the yogis. They knew how to make everything, relatively simple and just full of grace for us. Here's more instructions on this just for when you come back to this. And let's go to the next one. So the next one is super fun. It's Nadi Shodhana, or the alternate nostril breathing. And it's also called Anuloma Viloma, depending on which tradition, which lineage. So this is just a little diagram to start to show you now, when we go back to the images I had for you guys of the energetic anatomy. So we have the spine as the central column. And then we've got, the divine masculine and the divine feminine channels that are going through that. So if you could think of as an element, think of the spine is like the plasma God consciousness in the center. And then the right is solar energy and the left is the lunar energy. And we're just balancing them all through the system, through all layers of our beingness with our breath. So this is showing you what we're going to be doing. What we're going to be doing is blocking off one nostril at a time. And we're going to be doing a full cycle of breath, which is an inhale and an exhale through the other nostril. And then we're going to block that one. And I'm going to show you how. So this one sometimes is complicated for people with the hands. So I'm going to show you there's a couple ways we can do this, because I want you to really be able to focus on the breath experience, So this is the mudra you can do if you feel comfortable. It's almost like a shaka, almost. So you put the, middle and pointer fingers down. And then we're going to be using our thumb and our ring finger actually to block the nostrils. So this is what we're doing. If you can see me okay, is we're going to block one, and we're going to inhale through that one. We're going to switch, and we're going to inhale, exhale through that one. And then we're going to switch. So we're using the thumb and the ring finger to block, alternating here. And then we're using these two on the third eye. And this is my favorite way to do it. This is how I learned how to do it. So you're going doot, doot, if I can show you, hopefully that's a good visual. It's kind of complicated. This is the way I learned to do it. And I love it because we're stimulating the third eye. I mean, wow, we're really getting into some stuff in the deep brain. If that's too much, you don't have to do the third eye. You could just do, like this. Just like that. So whatever you want to do, I want you to just be able to not have to think about it, and I don't want you to get frustrated. So really it's just about, we're going to be alternating the nostrils. So what we're going to do is, so we're going to put our right thumb on our right nostril and we're going to inhale. Then we're going to close the left nostril and exhale. Good. And we're going to inhale through there too. Then we're going to close it off and we're going to exhale left. And we're going to inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Good. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. And if you can, close your eyes. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close. Exhale right. And now we're going to stop. Keep your eyes closed and just start to breathe. And just tune in. Just breathing into the belly, easy, nice. And just see if you feel anything. And we'll do more, but I just wanted to pause and tune in and let you know the benefits of this. So what this does, this is the brain balancer. So what we're doing here, remember we talked about the nostrils. So what we're doing with this practice is we're doing a full cycle of breath, one inhale, one exhale through one nostril, and then we're shutting it off, shutting off the pranic flow to that one, and then going into the other one and doing the same thing. So we're supercharging one nostril, one nadi, one hemisphere at a time, and we're balancing it out. So what this does is it takes you into both hemispheres of the brain harmonizing, and that's divine mind. That's the higher aspect of the mind. So doing this for a while, you could start to really get a tickling sensation in the third eye at the front. You know, just see, you start to feel the prana doing things in your body as it opens up, you know, portals in your body and different things like that. So we can do more of this if you want. We can go on to the next one. The other thing I want to be cognizant of is I don't want you guys to fly off into outer space, because this can happen with pranayama, you know. So in case you have things to do today, and we'll do some grounding stuff before we leave, of course. But this one is kind of complicated because of the hand position. This is the most complicated one, you know, because of what we're doing. So does anyone have any questions about this right now? Guys, good? Okay. Yeah, anybody? I love questions. There's no worries about questions. So All right. If you guys feel confident with the finger positions, let's do some more. I'm going to time it. So let's close our eyes and bring your thumb to the right nostril. And we're going to inhale left. Close, exhale right. Beautiful. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. And then go ahead and just put your hands down and let's just gently breathe into both nostrils here, eyes closed, and just see if you feel anything. This one, 3 minutes, you shift your entire frequency of being. So this is one I recommend. You could do this daily for a while and start to find a whole new place of peace and balance. You know, this is a really powerful one. So this is great to share with children. You know, we're teaching them to regulate their emotions also. Our partners, our friends. I know if it's not, it's hard to get together with people right now in person, but any stuff you're doing with your friends, let them know, hey, did you know you can balance your brain with breathing through your nostrils? So yeah, I know this crazy girl, Marissa, she studies yogic stuff and she shared this with us. Yeah, so do you feel anything? You just notice anything different? Isn't it incredible? So this is the stuff I'm like, my God, I mean, could you imagine if we shared this with like homeless people or people are, struggling with substance abuse? Like I used to work in a rehab, and this stuff was so powerful. Like these poor people that have anxiety, and they over-identify with it because no one taught them that they're not their anxiety, right? So, they're using substances to deal. They do 3 minutes of this and it's like, oh my God, I feel like I took, an opiate or something. And I'm like, yeah, so this is the beautiful, incredible truth of our bodies is, we have our own pharmacopoeia right here. Just engage it with our breath. So I love this one. I get total goosebumps about this one. So this one now, I'm sure many of us aren't too upset right now after that. But this is the Sitali Pranayam. This is the great one to do to cool mental or physical or emotional heat. And it's also detoxing the liver because in the body, Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine have a lot of crossover. So the liver is where a lot of heat comes from, our bile, and the temper is there too, for those of us who are more fiery, So this is really powerful to do as the weather warms up too. If we get overheated, this is really powerful to do women with hot flashes, things like that. Really amazing. So if you're prone to anger, you're working through it, hormonal stuff, or it's peak summer, this is great. So what this is doing is breathing over your tongue. So your mouth is open and you can hang your tongue out a little if you like. You can just kind of let it, lay there just calmly, relaxed. And then there's another thing you can do. I'll show you the next photo. My tongue won't cooperate that way, but you can do a taco tongue. That's the formal way. The fancy yogi way is the taco tongue. And then you breathe over that. And just know, you may taste metal. Yeah, Rick's got it. Awesome, Rick. See, I wish I could do it, but I can't do it. So it's great if you can. And if you can't, it still works. I promise you. I've been doing this one a long time. If you taste metal, just know that's your liver releasing some stuff. Amazing, right? So let me show you this photo and then we'll go into it. So this lovely lady, she can do the taco tongue, and what you do is you are going to inhale over your tongue and inhale, exhale over your tongue. So you can hang like me. I have to hang my tongue out of my mouth. So I look silly, but that's part of the fun of this is it gets us out of the judgment piece, So you're going to take a few natural breaths into the belly and then curl your tongue or just extend it out a little. And we're going to inhale through and over the tongue. Breathe over it and allow your attention to come into the cooling effect in the mouth, down the throat, and into the torso while we do this. So you close your eyes and just and just feel the difference. Me, my mouth, my throat gets really dry because it's dry and windy here in California right now. So I got to have some water. But you can notice an immediate difference. And the longer you were to do this, then you would taste a metallic. And just know it's just a natural liver cleanse. And this is great to do with anything. I mean, you could even do this driving. If people are hostile in traffic, you could do just 3 of these and you'll be like, I don't care, kind of thing, or whatever it is. So this is to cool you down. Sitali Pranayam. And with all of these, remember that the focus is fill the belly first and let it rise up into the top. So that's what we're doing with every breath work now. It's just really bringing it, that's rooting it down, bringing it into the belly first, letting it inflate and rise up from there and expand, rise up, bloom from there. So just remember that for every breath work we're doing. So that's this one. And this is a great one, to share with people too.